Okay, this is the last section of the review for the semester final. This one, number 61, excuse me, we're looking at it says that KJ and KL are opposite rays, just meaning that this is a straight line. Angles 1 and 2 are congruent, so these two angles are congruent, and KM bisects NKL. These angles are also congruent. Okay, if JKP, which is angle 1, is 3R plus 12, and angle 2 is 4R minus 2, we have to find the measure of angle JKN, which is this large angle right here. So what we're going to do is angle 1 and 2 are congruent, so we can set 3R plus 12 equal to 4R minus 2. Solve for R, and you get R equals 14. Now that's not our answer because they want to know the measure of JKN. Well, JKN is made up of angle 1 and angle 2, so we're going to plug 14 in for R. 3 times R, which is 14, plus 12. We end up with 42 plus 12, that equals 54. Now be careful because 54 is an answer, but it's not our answer. Because this angle is 54 degrees, this angle is 54 degrees, so we have to add them to find the measure of the entire angle. 54 and 54 is 108 degrees, which is why our answer is A. Okay, the law of syllogism says to draw a conclusion from the two given statements. If a number is multiplied by 64, then it is a multiple of 8. If a number is a multiple of 8, then it is a multiple of 2. That means these two statements are equal to these two, kind of like the transitive property. So then we can join those two statements and say if the number is a multiple of 64, then it's a multiple of 2, which is C. Okay, number 63 here. We're looking for the midpoint. No, we are given the midpoint. We have a segment, RS, at the midpoint, and we're looking for R. We have S, which is 10, 2, and the midpoint is 7, 4. Now we could use the midpoint formula, but just something to think about. Notice that 7 is 3 units away from 10. So R is going to also have to be 3 units away from 7, which going the other way would leave us with 4. Notice that 4 is 2 units larger than S, which is 2. Now R is also going to be 2 units away from 4, but it's going to be the other direction, which would leave us with 6, which is why the answer is C. Okay, find the length of the hypotenuse, number 64. Let's see. So we're going to use the Pythagorean theorem. We're going to say 4 squared plus 7 squared equals the hypotenuse squared. 4 squared is 16 plus 49. We add that together and we end up with 65 equals C squared. Take the square root of that, and we can't simplify that any further, which is why our answer is D. Okay, number 65. Whoops. It says determine whether WX segment formed by those 2 points and YZ are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. And we do this by finding the slope of each. So we're going to find the slope of WX. This is where we take the y's and we subtract them. 5 minus 2 over 3 minus 6. Yeah. So the slope for WX is 3 over negative 3, which is negative 1. So now let's take a look at y. We'll take our y's and subtract them. We'll go 4 minus 3 over 8 minus 0, we end up with 1 over 8. So we have -1 and we have 1 over 8. Neither of those, if they were equal to each other, it would be parallel. If they were opposite reciprocals, it would be perpendicular, but it's neither of those, which is why there is no relationship. Number 66, what is the image of the point 4, -1 after reflection across the x-axis? Well, you remember 4, -1 across the x-axis would mean it would go across the x-axis, whoops, and it would be up here somewhere. So what we're changing here is from x to y, we are going, we're keeping the x-coordinate, we're changing the sign of the y-coordinate. So we would end up with 4, +1, C. Okay, BOC is 23. AOC is 61, the whole angle, the larger angle. What's the measure of AOB? That right there. Well, x plus 23 is 61 degrees, so we just have to really subtract 23 to get our answer. We end up with 38 degrees, which, yeah, that's D. Okay, complete the statement. If a transversal intersects two parallel lines, here's our parallel lines, our transversal. Alternate exterior angles are congruent, is your answer here. Corresponding angles are not supplementary, they're congruent. Same side exterior, actually those are not complementary. Now they're supplementary, but that's not one that we really look at. Same side exterior. Alternate interior angles are not supplementary, they're congruent. And our answer is D. Alternate exterior are congruent. Okay, 69. DFG and JKL are complementary angles. That means they add up to equal 90 degrees. So x plus 3 plus x minus 1 equals 90 degrees. 2x plus 2 equals 90 degrees. Subtract 2. And you end up with 88. And so divide by 2 and x equals 44. Now that's not our answer. We have to plug it in. So 44 plus 3 is 47. And our second angle, 44 minus 1, is 43, which our answer is A. Okay, the centroid. You'll remember this one, and I'll redraw this triangle for you. You remember that when we have the centroid, it's formed by the three segments, the intersection of the three segments, and you'll remember here we have B, E, and that segment is 18. Well, it's this part right here, that X, it's 1/3 of the entire segment. So we can divide that by 3, which is 6. So that segment is 6. Now the other part of the segment is twice as big as the small one, which would make that 12. So BG is 6 and GE is 12. D. Okay, right here we're looking at EF is 3x. This segment plus this segment equals the whole segment. So those two are going to be equal to 16. 3x minus 5 plus 4x minus 7 equals 16. Then we just solve for x. 7x minus 12 equals 16. 7x equals 28. Divide by 7, and x equals 4. Now they want x, EF, and FG, so we have x equaling 4. So it's not this, it's not this. EF, we'll plug it into this expression, so 3 times x, which is 4, minus 5. We end up with 12 minus 5, which is 7. So now we know our answer is C, without even having to worry about the other one. Okay, moving on. Okay, find the value of K. We've got angles measuring 47 and 69. Well, we're going to add those up and subtract from 180 to get that missing angle. 116. 116 from 180 leaves us with 64, which is the measure of K. The order of the symmetry of the pizza shown, we're looking for how many rotations until it maps itself back around. We look for the congruent. For instance, I have 8 pieces of pie, or whatever this is, divided up into the circles in 8 pieces. Therefore, the order is 8. If it was a star with 5 points, the order would be 5. Okay, and 74, what's the measure of the base angle? Have an isosceles. If the vertex angle is 32, so that angle is 32. It's congruent sides. So the sums of all 3 angles have to be 180. So 180 minus 32 says that the last 2 angles have to add up to equal 148. And they're equal to each other. So what I do is I take half of 148, which is 74. That's the measure of my 2 base angles. Name the angle included by the sides NM. Well, there's NM, and there's MP, so the angle formed here is angle M. Okay, that's all the review for the semester final.